So you know how they always say, just be yourself, just be you, be authentic. Authenticity will win. Before we can be authentic, we're going to have to ask a little bit of a deeper question, right? What does authenticity really mean? Welcome to Codeswitch Rebellion. This is the unfiltered podcast for Black women who are done shrinking, chasing perfection, and performing professionalism in their own business. I'm Melanie L, aka Melly D, personal branding consultant and the identity strategist. This is where we talk about what it really takes to build a personal brand rooted in who you are, not who you were conditioned to be. Around here, we have real, raw conversations about what it means to show up with integrity, authority, and bold authenticity so you can attract better clients and bigger opportunities. Let's get into it. So in this episode, we're going to talk about authenticity and what the hell it really means, okay? Because if you've ever felt like being yourself and being authentic cost you your credibility or your safety or your opportunities, then this episode is definitely for you. I know for me, for example, I struggled a lot with being myself. I thought being myself was not good enough, meaning I had started a business and I felt like I needed to be just like my colleagues, which were predominantly white women, older white women. I didn't relate to them, but I was like putting on a show, trying to act like them because I felt like these were the ones dominating my space. And this is how I need to show up. This is how I need to act. This is how I need to speak. This is how I need to dress. And so I put on a show. I put on an act because I thought that's what I needed to be in order to attract those high paying executive clients that I wanted. We're told to be authentic, right? Be yourself. Just be real. Be who you are. Authenticity wins. And I know I say that a lot. I definitely do because I do want us to embrace who we are and be really true to the essence of who we are. And the reason why I am so passionate about this is because when we are not being authentic, it eats away at us. It eats away at our identity, at our confidence, at our sense of self, and it's tiring. And I am just wanting us to be free. I want us as Black women to be free. And a part of that freedom is really embracing who we are and allowing the world to learn who the fuck we are. It's time to show them. So I know authenticity is like this buzzword now, right? Especially in business and branding and even in leadership. But for us, right, Black women, authenticity has been a struggle for us because when we show up as our full selves, we constantly get censored or silenced or told that we're being too much, right? We're too loud, we're too opinionated, we're combative. Now, before we can talk about authenticity, and in authenticity, I'm looking at this in the lens of being a business owner, right? A service providing business. These are the segment of Black women that I'm specifically talking to. And most of my clients have come from a corporate background. And this is where I have found the challenge, the problem that I set out to solve. The problem I set out to solve is that corporate women who are Black, who come from a corporate environment, have brought all of their conditioning with them into their own business. And now they're acting just like the system that have been oppressing them and holding them back this entire time. I don't like that shit. I don't like that because I understand that you need to be a certain way to survive corporate. I'm not taking that away from anyone. I am not here to tell you stop code switching at your job. I'm not here to tell you to be unprofessional. I'm not here to tell you any of that. Do what you got to do to survive corporate life and get your check, okay? I am talking about the people who have left that environment and have now moved into their own business, who have now decided to be the boss, to create a business, to create a new culture for themselves, and are bringing those same ideologies into their own shit. Like, that's who I'm really talking to. And so let's get into this thing. So what is authenticity for real? So to me, authenticity is just about alignment, right? So your thoughts and your feelings, your beliefs, your values, and your actions are all in alignment. And when those things are all in alignment, then you have created integrity. Okay? Stick with me. So authenticity is not about being raw and telling all your business and cussing this person out because they offended you. It's not about any of that. It's not about oversharing and saying everything you think. It's not that. Authenticity is literally about maintaining your own integrity. Period. So when you think of it that way, right? Now, authenticity is not about pleasing someone, living up to someone else's standards. It's literally about living up to your own standards, setting your own moral code, and moving in alignment with that. Okay. If authenticity is all about alignment and integrity, then the question becomes, why are we out of alignment in the first place? So something has brought us out of alignment. And what is that? Why? What has disrupted that alignment in the first place? Because right now, we don't feel authentic. We don't feel like we can be real. Why? Okay. So here it is. Corporate conditioning. And I'm going to, again, this is very specific in terms of the lens that I'm looking at authenticity through. I am not talking about authenticity in friendships. I'm not talking about authenticity in your family dynamics. I am talking about authenticity as it relates to business. And some of these are going to definitely overlap, but like specifically talking to business owners, service providers. So let's start with the fact that corporate spaces were not built for Black women. Can we start there? We think about business and corporations that started way back in the day, 100 years ago, whatever. White women weren't even allowed in the workplace, let alone a Black woman. And you know the system hasn't changed, barely, if at all. And so because it was based on the standards of white men, right? They set the tone. They set the standard. They determined what was acceptable, what was professional, and what was not professional. Right? So now we have gone through that system and they have taught us how to speak, how to dress, how to show emotions, how much of ourselves that we can put out there and that is acceptable in their world. Right? So after years of that, we have lost ourselves. We have lost who we are, and now we don't infuse that essence into our own shit because we have been doing it for so long and performing professionalism for that culture for so long. Now that we've let that go and started our own thing, we have brought all of that into what we do, and I'm here to say, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Because when you start doing this long enough and you start acting this way long enough, now it's like muscle memory. Like, this is just what you do on autopilot. You don't even recognize you're doing it. I have a client and I'm doing her content and I'm literally, so the way in which I do content, just a quick side note, is I ask you specific questions. You give me the answer in words, right? So verbally, you're telling me what your answer is as it relates to this question. I am cleaning up your words. And that is your post. And I'm doing this with her. And mind you, she cuss like a sailor, like I do. And she's like, oh no, we can't say shit. Can we just say ish? And I'm like, girl, that's not how you talk. So how come it's okay for like a Gary V or a Grant Cardone to say F-bombs all over the place, but a Black woman cannot? Right? And I understand why. I understand the nuances there, but I am here to break that mold. I am here to say, let's stand up and do what we want to do and still demand our cash, our money, because we are 10 times more skilled than these white men. Can we just throw that out there? So here's the thing. The problem is that this conditioning has followed us into our own businesses. And we're still watering down our messaging, right? Trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it corporate jargon, right? Trying to use these big words. And ain't nothing wrong with big words, right? I like a big word or two, you feel me? But like, that's not how you talk to your friends. If you speak to your friends with big words, so be it. Go ahead, put all the big, 10-syllable words in there, no problemo. And I am highly educated. I have a master's in business administration. I am smart. Okay, don't get it twisted. But I don't need to put on an act. And that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. When I talked about in the beginning about, trying to act like these older white women that was running the show, That's what I was doing. The thing about it is, when we're in corporate, we do have to act a certain way because corporate has a certain set of rules, spoken and unspoken, to where showing up as myself, my island girl, Detroit raised black girl, I just didn't fit in. It was not built for me. Trying to be who you are and also trying to fit into a mold is challenging. I got a quick question for you. Do you keep attracting the wrong clients or no clients at all? Something's going wrong with your personal brand, boo. And it's okay, but before you can fix it, you got to really know what's going on. You got to assess and see what needs to be fixed so you can take the next best steps. If you're ready to get off that struggle bus and stop winging it, book a digital brand audit. This is a personalized deep dive on how you're showing up online. We dive into what's working, what's missing, and what's really holding you back from those opportunities and those clients that you know you deserve. Book your digital brand audit today. One of my family members had been really into wigs and, all of that. But she decided to chop her hair all the way off. So she had like a baby fro. Her family, our family, had a business and it was customer facing. And her mom told her, girl, put a wig on because you coming into the office with your hair like that is unprofessional. I was like, oop, you be your own people. It be your own people. And I want to talk about this word professional because really the connotation that professional has is really not, what is it really rooted in? If you look at the definition, being professional is about having the competence to do your work well. That's all it boils down to. So that's what I'm saying about how the white man determined what professionalism looked like. They made it up, y'all. They said professionalism is our hair. It has to be straight. None of that curly, coily stuff. It can't be big. It can't be loud. You can't have, beads and making noise and doing all these extra things. That's unprofessional. It can't be nappy. It can't be coily. It has to be straight. So back in the day, in order to fit in, because we wanted a job, we had to do, we straightened our hair. And that went down generation to generation, right? And so wearing our hair, how it grows out of our head, is determined to be unprofessional according to people who set the standard that are not us. Okay? Let's just keep that in mind. Now, you're still playing small with visibility because you believe that corporate branding, so you put that logo first versus your face, right? You seek permission instead of just being the authority because you're the boss now. And a lot of us don't come into it with a CEO mindset. We bring that employee mindset where we're still kind of seeking permission and trying to figure out, is this acceptable or is it not? It's acceptable because you said it's acceptable because you're the boss. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you some examples, right? So branding that feels safe, meaning you're going to pick. So I did this, y'all. I did this. So when I have my resume business, I love purple. So purple is in all of my brands. I've made several brands over the years. Purple's always there. But for the resume business, I muted the purple, right? So it wasn't like a bright, vibrant purple. It was a muted purple. And then I threw in like a navy and then like another shade of blue. So blue on blue on blue on top of muted purple. Yeah, I did that because I felt like it was safe and corporate-y, and that the people coming from corporate that got the big money are going to pay me well because I reflect their culture back to them. All right? Maybe it worked because I did get a lot of good clients, big dog clients, but it wasn't me. It wasn't a reflection of me, right? It wasn't true to Mel. As you can see, Mel likes color. Mel likes to be bold. Mel likes to be vibrant. Mel loves sequins. And so this muted purple and navy blue was literally just the brand that wasn't true to me. I want you to know things like your hair, your clothes, how you present, how you speak. This is not like frivolous things. They are part of who we are. It's a part of what makes us who we are, right? I have a Detroit accent. I probably have a little island twang in there. I did leave the island when I was like 9 years old, but all of my family is Caribbean. I go to the islands every year. I'm probably in the Caribbean. So like I have that background and I'm going to express things in that way. I'm going to have that perspective for my life and how I view the world. These are expressions of self, right? So when your outer presentation contradicts your inner truth, that becomes misalignment, and that is not authenticity. Okay? So authenticity has to do with the integrity and alignment, but also has to do with how you show up. How you show up is important, because if I showed up and I was wearing something that I didn't like or I didn't feel like was me, it wasn't attractive to me, I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel off. I would feel self-conscious. And now I'm focused on how I look and all this because I don't like it, because it's out of alignment with who I am. I am a bright, colorful girl. You ain't never gonna see me. I won't say never, but you will hardly ever see me in some pastel shit. I hate pastels. I like bright colors, okay? And that's why when I rebranded and started Melly D, I made sure I picked bright colors, and I went with a tropical island vibe, because you gonna get me, okay? You gonna get me all up in my brand, all right? Because that is who I am. I'm an island girl. I'm a little hood. I'm outspoken. I have opinions, and that's just what you're going to get. Authenticity is not about, again, being raw and being rude and cussing people out and telling people like it is and saying everything that's on your mind. It's literally just about alignment. Alignment in who you are and alignment with your integrity. That's what it boils down to. So instead of asking yourself, do I look professional enough? Or am I good enough? Am I fitting in enough? Ask yourself instead, is this in alignment with who I am and what I stand for? Because when you are in alignment, you're way more confident. You have way more clarity, and you show up with authority because you're the boss and you know who you are, and no one can shake that. And in our next episode, we're really going to dive deep into that, because that is so important. It's the foundation of building a strong personal brand, because authenticity cannot be achieved without a strong sense of self. So if you're questioning how aligned you are, or how aligned your brand is, or how you're showing up in your business, I invite you to book a digital brand audit. It's where we really break down and I mean, we pulling stuff out the woodworks. We all up in your business. We pull up all of your internet activity. So this is all your social medias. This is your Google discoverability, your LinkedIn profile, your website, all of it. We pull all of it and we go through and we determine, are you performing or is this coming off authentically? Okay, so if you want to be real and be true in who you are in your business, then you may want to get a digital brand audit. The link is here somewhere around this video, around this podcast, in the show notes. And so grab that. Thank you so much for listening. This was another episode of the Codeswitch Rebellion for the ones who are done performing professionalism. I'll see you next time. If this episode sparked something in you and you want to continue the conversation, join me over on Substack. I would love to hear your thoughts on today's topic. Till next time, y'all, remember, your identity is the strategy.